Warning, the voices heard in this video are made synthetically using artificial intelligence. Nothing in this video reflects anything actually stated by the real-life individuals involved. This video is for entertainment purposes only, and serious political content will be avoided for that purpose. Enjoy!
Felicitations, fabulous fans. We return with filler content featuring our fantasy friends first.
Joe, you mage-loving freak, what the hell did you do to your portrait? Wait, what the hell did you do to my portrait? What is happening?
Donald, that was not Joe.
Thank you.
Our editor noticed after almost 20 episodes that our portraits would always take up so much room on the screen.
These were her
So he
favorite.
drew up some portrait frames for us
I haven't
that
seen
would not only
these in
be
such a long
a
time.
more
It's
aesthetically
not just
balanced
like
way to
Mother
show our
used to.
portraits,
Thank
but it
you.
would be thematically
Thank you
appropriate
so
since
much
we
for
are a
remembering.
Dragon Age channel. If you noticed, our portraits now look similar to the Dragon Age party portraits.
All right, after some deep breathing, I think it is kind of cool that we stand out more and look like we belong in Dragon Age. But viewers, let us know what you think. Our editor isn't an artist by any means, so I'm sure this took him a while. But he could always revert them next episode if you're not a fan of the style difference.
My mother was there.
Yeah, plus your fat ass doesn't block the entire spell list. Now, Donald, so it's a win-win. Anyways, as the intro implied, we have a lot of filler content to get through today.
Good point, Joe. Also, we totally forgot to ask both Zevran and Leliana about these gifts before just handing it to them. But we still get that big approval bonus either way, so a win is a win. I'm surprised you're giving Zevran a gift, Joe, considering your disdain.
Probably the last episode I will have to talk to him, so I might as well do something nice. Just keep what I'm doing in mind for Dragon Age 2, Barry.
Unsurprising, Sleepy, you forgot to check back in with the basic bard after her quest to decide if you're going to harden her or not.
Oh, God. Phew, Donald, please give a content warning before talking about Hardening and Leliana.
Well, the priority is going to skip past the hardening section and go straight to her song. This is actually the song in Uthanara that we stole from the songbook last episode, but we did not have to steal it for this scene to play. Leliana already knew the song, and will play it as soon as you finish the Dalish Elf questline, regardless of which side you chose as well. So I guess she really does just like elves.
Oh God, the basic bard is going to sing for us?
Oh my God, this is just like my dreams, boys. Christmas came early.
She do got some pipes on her.
I've heard better.
Boys, I can't hold it in any longer.
Heavy pause.
This is the cringiest shit I have ever heard in all my years.
I don't know, Donald. It's kind of a vibe. I feel it coming over me, too.
Wait, what? Never been more thankful to be missing half my ear. Joe, your mic is bugging. Please stop. Holy shit, they're harmonizing. Congratulations, you three combined your total virgin energies to create a one-hit wonder. Now, if you ever do that shit again, I will actually rip Joe's Barbie laptop in half.
Total hater energy over
It's
here, Double
nothing,
D,
I'm
you know we
fine.
killed it.
That brought me back to our 2010s Joe Good Shit Been a While Since We Harmonized.
You can be my wingman anytime, Barry.
I can't believe I'm the one to say this, but can we stop the liberal stroke fest and get back to the game, Joe? What choice are you going to make concerning Leliana?
Right, this is our first of the two companions that we can choose to harden or leave unhardened viewers. In Leliana's case, this affects how roguish she is and makes her a little less moral, but not by much, since she's still a good person at the end of the day. Hardening her affects her reaction to poisoning the ashes. It affects her ending attire and her end game choice. And most importantly, if you're romancing her and she's hardened, you can have a threesome with her and Isabella.
That's definitely not the most important aspect of hardening, but truthfully, I've always been under the belief that companions don't need to be hardened in order for their arcs to progress. This is more so true with Alistair because it affects his willingness to rule, but I also believe that just because Leliana is hardened by the time of Inquisition, she doesn't need to be hardened here for her story to make sense.
You liberals are just playing too close to the Paragon beliefs with this one. It's literally the canon choice to harden her.
Well, I already mentioned I'm going to keep her unhardened, even if she is hardened still by the time of Inquisition. That's more so on Divine Victoria, not on the writing of this game. Plus, it will be thematic for both our Warden and Inquisitor to work towards unhardening her from the outside influence of others. Also, I love the dialogue option, telling her that she can choose who she is herself, just like Marjolaine chose who she was. It not only gives Leliana the power that was taken from her by Marjolaine, but it runs counteractive to the end of Leliana's song, where Marjolaine tells her that they are the same. Now she can choose to be different and take back the power.
That was the biggest yap session Joe has ever mustered and probably will ever muster, so I hope you all found that impressive.
Goddamn, Joe, very impressive. You are trying to rival me with the analysis yaps today, I see. We will let Leliana marinate on that one. Let's check in on the rest of the squad.
It's definitely been a while since Alistair has gotten the spotlight. It also goes without saying that he is the other companion that we still have a side quest for. But we had a special plan for that. Tell him the plan, Barack.
Right, so we think it's fair for Donald to tackle Alistair's companion quest, not only because Alistair is his big bro, as he calls it, but also because that way we are all tied up with two companion quests each. We also figured, since Alistair's companion quest is most impactful during the Lands Meet, that we will tackle it right at the start of the Lands Meet portion, which just so happens to tie into Donald's next episode. So it all works out.
Can't wait to help Alistair meet his fake family and get bullied into supporting them harder than a simp supports a e-girl.
Fake or no, this is super important to Alistair personally. If we take Alistair into the Fade during Broken Circle, his Fade dream is him simply spending quality time with Goldana and her children. That means his ideal world is one where he can have family and be a normal guy.
I always have a special place in my heart for characters that don't want a grand design or an anime-style revenge plan on the world, but simply want a quaint and happy life, and to do their job and go home. It's what makes characters like Alistair and Oghren real brothers in arms. They are down to earth in a sense.
Even if Alistair is a tad too optimistic about what his birthright means, and that for some reason Aemon will take the throne and not him.
Oh, right, that's a good point. Since we are doing the Urn of Sacred Ashes, last Alistair is going to have massive whiplash about the events of the Lands Meet. He still thinks right now that Aemon will step up and inherit the throne, but we know that as soon as he wakes up, Aemon will have different plans, and by the time those plans are revealed, we will be at the Lands Meet petitioning Alistair for the throne.
Well, possibly that's a whole different conversation we will have with the viewers, since we plan on putting it to a vote like with the Orzammar election.
Normally I would be concerned with the both of you rigging votes, but the last two votes among our viewers have gone completely my way, so I trust that this last vote will be no different.
Well, a broken clock is right twice, Donald. I think the votes will show that.
Well, then you must be the most broken clock on the planet, because you're never right, Joe.
Okay, ladies, calm down. Do y'all think Alistair was valid for hiding his birthright? He's making a pretty big assumption here, based on the experience of what two people coddling him. Only Aemon and Duncan knew about his birthright. That isn't exactly an extensive list of people coddling him.
I said it once, I will say it again, it was a massive fumble to not let us know that he was the king's son. Not only could we have related to our big bro on a deeper level being the son of a king ourselves, but we needed to know at the bare minimum to keep a lookout for Logain's assassination attempts, since he knows Alistair is Marek's son. We know that the rat is fiending to finish the regicide that he started at Ostagar.
Thank you so much.
Well, let's move on to Wynne, shall we?
Good call. We can see how relieved she is now that her much smaller regret is behind her, and her arc is coming to a close, at least as far as Origins is concerned. Anyway, we will probably be wrapping up the last of the companions' arcs this episode, being honest, as I want to finish up Oghren's quest before I do return to Ostagar.
That armor looks so goddamn goofy on Wynne, it's probably twice the weight of Wynne herself. I can't believe we wasted one of the coolest armors on this annoying grandma here.
I think it looks good on her, and like we said, it's thematically appropriate for a mage to wear it, since it was made by a magister using blood magic.
Well, Wynne certainly went through a strong personal arc, not only trusting our warden completely now, since we helped her tackle one of her greatest regrets in finding Aneurin, but she also received a pretty potent anime power, of not only receiving the improved Vessel of Spirit ability, but also receiving an ancient armor fused with Tevinter magics that resist all elemental damage. Now that she's had such substantial growth, let's see if she feels any differently towards our relationship with Morrigan now.
If she says anything about my wife, she's getting suplexed into the nearest curb in the middle of camp. I don't care how many tons of plate armor she has on.
Well, no worries, Donald. She actually approves of our relationship now and apologizes for her rude remarks from earlier. That's reason number 15, that Wynne is the GOAT.
All right, I guess I can call a truce on Mage Grandma if she's willing to admit she's wrong.
Thank God for that, because if both me and Joe are going to bring Wynne in the party during our episodes, I would rather not have you beefing with her for over 2 hours straight, just because me and Joe want some heals. Well, let's check in on Sten one last time.
God, you guys are really trying to test my patience today with these companion choices.
Donald, just like Zevran, this is likely going to be the last time we talk to Sten or Wynne about anything.
Fine. I'll try to be positive about this big ball of murderous anxiety.
So, Barry, I know we should save some yaps about the Qunari for Dragon Age 2, but do you have any information on the Tamasran Sten mentions here?
Yeah, that should be a good wrap-up for Origins. The Tamasrans are part of the priesthood of the Qunari. They are very similar to real-life Catholic nuns in the fact that they help raise children and care for Qunari that are not physically or mentally able to care for themselves. These nuns raise all the children of the Qunari and give them their general education. When the Qunari children reach the age of 12, the nuns then evaluate them and officially assign their roles that they will carry out for the rest of their lives.
That's definitely way more important than what real-life nuns do for children. These guys sound like they control the very foundation of their society if they decide what jobs everyone does.
Well, finally, let's see a few scenes with Bo. We really haven't checked in on him for most of the series, and I know some of the viewers really do love the Mabari companions.
Finally, we are checking in on our best boy again. This is seriously the best companion we have talked to so far today.
Besides Leliana, I can agree wholeheartedly with that.
No, Bo is definitely better than that cursed duet you did earlier. Joe, don't even remotely compare the two.
Well, for you, Mabari lovers, out there among our viewers, we can promise that they will be a frequent companion in the Dragon Age 2 playthrough. We can also promise that we will exhaust more of the unique companion dialogue with the Mabari in 2 that we neglected in Origins. So stay with us. We see you and the President's got your back.
Kinda cringe, but based Mabari claim Barak.
I think seeing Sten bond with Bo over both being warriors who respect each other is the perfect way to end both of their character arcs, boys.
Joe, what are we doing back here? We literally had to jog for like 10 minutes with haste just to get back to the lair.
Well, Donald, like I said last episode, there is a ton of loot in the rooms beside the Gatekeeper that we never got because you decided to warp your ass immediately to the Dalish camp last episode.
I still regret nothing, Joe. Also, you ran all the way back here for loot. We are literally rich and fully built. We didn't need it that bad.
Well, Donald, not only is there loot here, but there is also a scroll of Banastor for the Mage's Collective quest in these side passages. And the main reason Joe probably went back is because there is another Revenant boss in these rooms.
Right? Again, Barak, that's another boss counter for me.
Oh, God damn it. I was so close to getting a 6 boss last episode.
Skill issue, but while I clear out the loot and fight this boss, I want to dive a little deeper to close one of the companion's arcs.
Oh boy, here we go.
I want to point out the small character growth we see in Wynne to wrap things up with her. She started out lecturing us to no end about morality and our responsibility as a warden, and even admitted to losing an apprentice because she was so insistent that her way was correct and that it's her responsibility to force change in others. But now we have her here, admitting she was wrong about our relationship and admitting that she can trust that the future is in good hands with our warden leading the charge. I think that's subtle, but a really nice touch to wrap up her character.
That was beautiful, Joe. Nothing else really needs to be said there.
Thanks for not being absolutely insufferable, Grandma.
Well, I'm glad we can all agree, boys, now we shouldn't have any issue bringing Wynne around these next 2 episodes, because I need to bring Wynne for the unique dialogue, and Barry wants to bring Wynne to the Urn quest for the High Dragon fight.
Well, you all still have a massive skill issue for needing Wynne. My beloved Morrigan should be all you need to get through this game. Why use status effects and heals when you have hot, beautiful damage from a goth mommy?
Well, I guess we know where you stand when we make the tier list, Donald.
Why are all these dogs just standing in the room? Shouldn't they be at camp preparing for war?
I feel uncomfortable.
Well, it looks like we interrupted something. Either that, or no one told them that they are on our side now. Either way, they feel like they all have the menacing JoJo symbols over their heads right now.
Joe, just grab the rest of the loot and get the hell out of here. This is the most nervous I've been in this entire series.
I'm on it, Donald. This is freaky.
What's up, President Bitch Boy?
Oh, hey, Themey, it's been a while.
I really liked your song earlier.
Oh, thanks, man. I worked hard on it.
It will be the perfect thing for the Darkspawn to blast when we march on Denerim. It will fill the mortals with what you know as despair.
Hey, man, that's rude.
Blog about it, bitch. Anyway, get ganked. Now, Kay, thanks, bye.
Joe, who the hell were you talking to? You just had that lead paint stare again.
I was talking to Themey. He called me a bitch and said something about blog about it.
Oh, shit. I almost forgot about that plot point. Yeah, we definitely need to kill the archdemon pronto.
Just focus up on killing the screaming Darkspawn.
I really don't think I need to focus up that hard. This might go down as the easiest fight in Dragon Age Origins. Besides, maybe Abomination 6406. It's just basic shrieks against not only our warden, but our entire damn party camp, which are all fully stacked out and built at this point. Honestly, it's almost like we are ambushing them.
Call an ambulance, but not for me.
Well, I see we have already discarded the important plot that the archdemon is growing more and more aware and is even updating his lingo. But moving on to this fight, you're right on the money, Joe. This fight is just another example of the Darkspawn reminding us that they are the main villain of this game. I think most people remember this fight for 2 reasons. One, because it's the first time we fight as a whole squad, not just a 4-man. Even if it's an easy fight, it still feels thematic. And 2, because if we are a Dalish elf, this normal ambush becomes one of the saddest scenes in the series.
Oh, right. R.I.P. to our bro Tamlin.
So during the Dalish elf origin, our hunting companion Tamlin finds a alluvian, corrupted by the taint. And upon inspecting it, the mirror released some kind of energy that knocks our Dalish warden out. And when we wake up, Tamlin is gone. We search for him, but there is no sign of him by the alluvian or the chamber deeper in. We then go through the game as normal, never finding him until this ambush here. After we kill the Shrieks, Tamlin will be among them now, corrupted by the Blight, and will apologize to us before attacking us, and we will have to kill him, ending the mystery as to his disappearance when we least expected it.
Also, if we are a female Dalish warden, he will say he always loved us.
God damn, that does make this scene way more impactful. Rest in peace too, bro. Ah, my beloved walled city, it's so nice to be back now, getting the respect we deserve as Prince of Orzammar again. Wait, why the hell are we back again? Did we want to check how our bro Belin's grind is going?
No, actually, there's 2 quick side quests I wanted to tackle while we are here. First things first, there's an anti-van assassination target that we have to take care of. Once we take them down, we only have the last target available back in Denerim. Since that is considered Landsmeet prep work, just like Alistair, we can toss that over to you, Donald, during your episode.
Fair enough, I guess. That means this is one of the few side quests that we all made contributions on, because Barack, you took on the first 2 contracts. Joe tackled this one, and I'll finish things up with the last contract.
Love it when a plan comes together. Also, why does this room feel so familiar?
This was actually our little guy's room. I guess Beelan is renting it out as ambassador guest quarters now.
Normally I would be pissed at this, but I already know our bro is probably charging crazy high rent prices, so I have to respect the grind.
This is actually where we started the journey of our warden. With our original bro, Gorium, it's crazy how much we have done and how far we have come 18 episodes later.
Yeah, nothing like committing an easy murder all the way back where we started our journey. Feels like home again. Well, one last errand to take care of. This is less so important to us and more so just a good tip for the viewers. If you leave Orzammar and come back after making Orda a noble again by completing her quest, the next time you talk to her, she will reveal that she funded an expedition to Ortan Te and that she thinks it's only fair to give you some of the proceeds she recovered. Even if you asked her for money before this, she will still give you more if you come back to check on her.
10 gold for an easy side quest, not bad. Good grind tip, Barack.
Last errand to handle is getting our bro Oghren his girl back.
Getting Uncle Oghren laid. Now this is a side quest worthy of a BioWare game. I'm glad this trend stayed around in Dragon Age 2 and Inquisition.
Well, I'm just thankful there isn't an option for our warden to bang Felsi ourselves. Given both your track records and the fact she has red hair, I don't think Joe would be able to control himself.
Whoa, Barry, who do you take me for? I would never do that. This is Oghren's girl after all.
Yeah, you Tegan-loving pervert. Who do you think we are? There's something called bro code. We would never stoop so low as to break it.
Yeah, Barack, that's really fucked up. You don't do your homies like that. You know how many secretaries I passed on before Monica? Because my bro Al Gore had eyes for them first, you just don't do that.
Bill, how could you possibly know what we are talking about? And also, hi, what are you doing here?
These Oval Office walls are pretty thin, unlike mine.
Phrasing, please.
Integrity, and also Joe texted me he was doing Ogren's quest and wanted support from the Seduction Master as well as some cut content, because you already know a quest about hooking a man back up with a mistress while said man was unhappily married has base Bill written all over it.
Well, I do know this quest wasn't given much time, mostly because the writers thought they already gave Oghren plenty of spotlight in the Orzammar quest line already, so they didn't want to devote too much time on him here, since he already got plenty of screen time in the main quest.
Well, listen up here, boys. Talking about you, Donald, I know you are missing half your ear. You see, when I was writing this quest originally, it was a lot more elaborate. Oghren had several mistresses in Orzammar that he pursued while being married to Branka. This came to light and his caste was at stake, so he had to hold an interview with the chosen king of Orzammar to clear his name against insulting a paragon, which was his wife. The warden would have helped him with this through a series of persuasion checks, and Ogren's punishment would fit how persuasive the warden was. You could also choose from several romance options for Oghren, all of which would have appeared in Awakening. The writer said that I was too close to this quest for some reason and that it was too elaborate for a companion that already got screen time in the main quest, like you said. So I had to make it a simple bar pickup quest.
Massive BioWare L. We could have had a whole scandal with multiple choices and multiple romance options for Uncle Oghren. That sounds super based.
Cheating on his wife with multiple women, no wonder Donald's rooting for him.
And just when we were getting along, Joe, Oghren is based for that Branka was cheating too with his own cousin.
Exactly, Donald. And remember, viewers, if you cheat on your girl 3 times a month, then that means you're still loyal 329 days in the year, which is still a 90%, which means you are an A+ tier boyfriend. This has been Base Takes with Bill.
What kind of goddamn life advice is that?
The best kind, obviously.
Well, all we have to do is make Oghren seem like a total badass to get the good ending here. It's kind of crazy that we don't even need a persuasion check with these lies. They just work regardless.
That definitely means she's into him and sees him for the badass he is.
Nothing like glazing up your boys in front of the ladies. Thanks for letting me borrow your Lambo last week, Oghren.
Well, good shit, gentlemen. We got our boy hooked up.
Now Uncle Oghren can become Daddy Oghren later on, after we defeat this minor annoyance, that is the Blight. Anyway, time for the real meat of this episode. Boys, let's return to Ostagar.
All right, well, Emma dipped this sax won't play itself, and return to Ostagar isn't my speed later, boys.
Ah, yes, let's go see the giant mess that can be blamed almost entirely on Barack's regicidal boyfriend, Loghain.
Okay, we already agreed all the way back in episode 4 that the situation was gray, and even if Loghain used his troops, he likely would not have won Ostagar.
Yes, the blatant cowardice and regicide of your boyfriend was morally gray. How could we forget?
Loghain is probably sitting in his throne, gooning at the thought of how he can fuck up the kingdom more by killing another king candidate.
Okay, Loghain is not that bad, calm down.
Joe, did you hear something?
Not sure, Donald, but it sounded like someone is choking on some war criminal schlong.
Fuck you both.
I feel like the combat this episode has been some of the easiest combat we have faced so far. Like it's mostly just been regular Darkspawn and humans, and we toss them up so quickly that the enemies can't really keep up.
I mean, that's more so just a symptom of late-game Dragon Age origins, being honest. Normal enemies, regardless of the symmetry, can't really compete with us because of all the extra gear we now have. However, I guarantee that when we hit up the Ancient Temple next episode, we are going to have at least a small challenge in that dungeon given all the dragons and powerful mages.
Good thing Donald isn't playing that section, then Bro's death counter would be in the double digits.
Jesus Christ, what an ancient goddamn pool, Joe. First off, fuck you. Secondly, we are probably going too hard on the callbacks this episode.
Well, the entire point of Return to Ostagar is a callback, Donald. So if you think about it, we are kind of fitting the theme here.
I mean, fair enough, I suppose. Anyway, was this guy someone we actually met at Ostagar? Was he Merrick's tent guard or something?
No, we didn't actually meet this guy at Ostagar, though. Having him be the tent guard, and maybe give the tent guard a name besides Kingsguard, would have been more impactful to the quest overall. Unfortunately, though, they just kind of added this guy after the fact, and we are all playing pretend that we recognize him.
Oh, that's pretty easy. I do it all the time. When I'm talking to these NPCs being honest, there's just way too many faces and names to be bothered with.
I don't think anyone is surprised to hear that fact, Joe, considering I'm sure you struggle remembering mine and Barack's name. Vice President Trump, was it?
Okay, mister. I was there at the 7-Eleven Trump like you never flubbed a line during a speech.
Ladies, please. Also, the fact that the Darkspawn haven't just brute forced the chest with the documents open is beating my suspension of disbelief. Even though they wouldn't care about the documents inside, you would think they would loot the chest just to see if there were valuable supplies in there.
They must have made that chest out of vibranium or dragon bone. Also, it's super ironic that when we first entered Ostagar, we had to retrieve some documents. And now we are going back to Ostagar to once again get some documents.
BioWare is definitely being original with this one, boys, but get some documents and collect some armor and weapons sounds like a basic plot to a DLC expansion to me. At least the armor is dope.
I mean, this quest might not be overall the most interesting or original story-wise, but there are a few things of interest to note. There's a lot of unique character interactions between Alistair and Wynne, and even some background politics of Ferelden and Orlais theirs, some good lore yaps we can get out of this DLC. But Donald's right, the loot in this side quest is top tier and is the biggest appeal.
It also helps as a reminder about the loss that caused our story to begin, and gives us something to fight for against Loghain. Not to sound too much like an overly dramatic nerd, but we saved this DLC for last. Not just because it is the last in the release order, but it's the most relevant for the upcoming Landsmeet we are about to fight through.
Brave words, Joe. Now let's go see the shitstorm that is Ostagar.
It's not going to be pretty, and we are going to have to wade through a lot of spawn too. But let's get some.
The events at Ostagar still haunt my thoughts, Warden. If that is where we are headed, I would like to accompany.
God damn, it's an average day in Alaska up in here.
Every BioWare DLC really said, hey, let's add some snow. That will help it stand out from the base game.
Time for our 69th Darkspawn fight this playthrough, boys.
The DLC didn't really justify its price with enemy variety, that's for damn sure. Since besides a few Darkspawn with unique spells, everything here is what we have already fought dozens of times before. However, this is going to be the last time we fight Darkspawn until we reach the end of the game with the Battle of Denerim.
Yeah, cool. Then after Denerim, we get to battle a few thousand more Darkspawn in the Awakening DLC. Who's going to be tackling the final battle? Should we split it up or take it all in one go?
Pretty sure the Landsmeet is going to be handled by you and Joe. And then I will take the final battle of Denerim. I think that's fair. We all got different segments of the end, and it doesn't really make sense for us to switch mid-episode. We never did that before. Why do it now?
Hey, I guess that's fair. Besides, you started this whole playthrough, and this is your favorite game in the series. so we might as well let you tackle the end.
Thank you for being agreeable with this, Donald.
Well, I figure it's fine, because even if you're ending out Origins, that doesn't mean you will be ending out Awakening, and it means I get to start us out fresh with Awakening, and that's a massive W.
Plus, you both still have your episode specials, and Donald, at the very least, you have to show up for your Witch Hunt episode special. You can't skip out on that one, like you did mine.
Get over it, Joe. No one cared about Leliana's song. They are far more pumped to see an hour-long special of me banging Morrigan or whatever the story of that DLC goes. I honestly forget everything other than the confrontation at the end with my wife.
Yeah, whatever. Well, we got the joining chalice for Alistair, though I kind of wish it's something we could hold on to ourselves. It is the chalice that we used after all. Plus, I might as well give Wynne the wine. Just like a Facebook aunt, that's her preferred gift. Anyways, First King armor inbound, boys.
Wait, the armor's only tier 5? We are like level 19 at this point. Why isn't the armor max level? That makes no sense.
That's definitely a glitch, but no worries. We can use another glitch ourselves to guarantee the armor is max level. If we take our armor over to Levi in Soldier's Peak and sell it to him, then leave and re-enter the peak, we can buy back the armor now at max level.
That's good. If the game is going to cheat, we might as well cheat ourselves.
Important to note that the game is cheating here. That's not us exaggerating. Level 18 is the minimum level for Callion's armor to be tier 7.
This DLC is off to a great start.
Well, say what you will about this DLC, but there is one thing very peak about Return to Ostagar specifically. The party banter between Wynne and Alistair has amazing character moments between the two, and is some of the most memorable banter in the series, especially Alistair's lines. If this doesn't get our boy pumped for some get back against Loghain and the Darkspawn, I don't know what will. Also, as much as I dislike Loghain, the fact that there is an entirely different set of banter between Loghain and Wynne if he is recruited instead of Alistair is really good work by BioWare, especially for a relatively small DLC.
Good points, Joe, but there's two things good about this DLC. The other being the badass armor and weapons it offers.
Goddamn, Joe, you really are putting in good work today with the game knowledge. I'm proud of you. Bringing Loghain to this DLC has some of my favorite moments of his. The sheer mix of emotions Loghain has is a real treat, and he makes some pretty valid defenses for his decision, while Wynne has some equally good clapbacks. Also, Loghain's reaction to seeing the contents of the chest are a real treat. It's some of Simon Templeman's best work.
Bro goes harder on Loghain schlong than a LeBron Glazer anyways. Barack, I know you are just itching to tell us about the tea on the contents of that chest, so go off while we are just killing more spawn.
Well, first things first, we learn a different side of Eamon from those letters. It turns out, just because Bro is on our side against Loghain, doesn't mean he's exactly a great person. Eamon is traditional to his core, which is why he is so driven to put Alistair on the throne. That same traditional point of view causes Eamon to have beef with Honora. We can find a letter between Eamon and Callion saying Callion should put Honora to the side because she is 30 and hasn't produced a child. Eamon is so against Honora, and it's actually shown in game, he will not attend the coronation at the end of the game if Honora is ruling alone.
Eamon sounds like one of those girl moms the second their daughter hits their late 20s.
All right, well now I just don't know what to think about him. Is he an asshole or good person?
He's morally gray, just like most people in this game, Joe, but that's not the biggest reveal that these documents show.
All right, he's a tier 3 Orlesian simp. I remember now something, it's about how you cheat on your wife, not if you cheat on your wife.
Thank you for the setup, Donald, but yes, the other important note, and the reason the documents were so important to recover, is because 2 of the letters are exchanges between the Empress of Orlais and Callion. Not only does the Empress offer Orlesian Grey Wardens and their own elite soldiers, but the tone of the writing is noticeably familiar compared to what you would expect 2 rulers whose countries have had so much history and conflicts. Compared with the fact that there's a letter in between where Eamon mentions leaving Honora because she hasn't produced an heir, and it paints a pretty clear picture of what Callion was planning here.
Wait, that's it? It doesn't directly confirm the cheating, it just implies they are a little too close?
I mean, yeah, they're not sexting letters or raunchy 50 Shades of Grey poems. Is that what you were expecting?
Yes.
Y'all are idiots. Why would they even include that in this game?
Because BioWare is based as hell, and it would make sense. Now, I don't know if Callian was just a simp or if he was pulling...
Well, Callian was definitely cheating. Honora even alludes to that. If you become Alistair's mistress and still marry the two to rule, she mentions that she was used to Callian having a wandering eye with women.
Well, at least we have our answer. Also on a lighter note, if you forgot to recruit the dog in the tutorial part of Ostagar, you can find a Mabari over by the kennels that somehow survived Ostagar, and you can recruit your Mabari companion as normal. There is nothing different about this Mabari compared to the one you saved, so it is just a one-for-one copy.
Yeah, but that means you didn't give the Mabari the cure in Ostagar, and he died to COVID-19, so that's a massive L. None of our viewers would ever do that.
Hey guys, the king's not looking so good.
Damn, he owed me $10. Promised to buy everyone beers after the battle and was 2 days to retirement. Too soon.
All right, let's not recycle too many jokes now, boys. Interesting to note how Callian's body is posed. Not only is he the only person posed so prominently, which means that the Darkspawn know this is the king and wanted to humiliate him, but the way he is posed on a totem is almost ceremonial, like it's some kind of religious offering. It could be a sign that the Darkspawn are tied to some ancient religion like the old gods or maybe the elven pantheon, perhaps.
You're probably reaching with that theory, Barack, but it might be interesting food for thought for our viewers. Also, did this necromancer really summon undead against us? Bro does not realize that is the equivalent of sending out paras against a goddamn Charizard.
The Darkspawn are smooth-brained enough to actually do that if you really think about it.
Well, while we have a few more Darkspawn slogs to get through, Joe, we might as well pass the time with a comment question. Do you have one prepped for us?
Well, let's keep it relevant to our mission for today. Donald did have a point. The main appeal of Return to Ostagar is the loot, particularly collecting the king's armor, which is probably why gathering that armor is part of the main quest here. So keeping this awesome armor in mind, viewers, what is your favorite armor set in Dragon Age? It doesn't have to be warrior armor either. Just let us know your overall favorite in any game. For me, it's an easy W for the champion armor from Dragon Age 2. Not only are there 3 variations depending on Hawk's class, but each of them has little details that make it feel like it was tailor-made for Hawk. Just the same way Shepard has N7 armor, Hawkeye has champion armor. And truthfully, I think Hawk's has much more style as far as protagonist armor goes.
Good one, Joe. Well, as for me, I would say my favorite armor is Sentinel armor from Dragon Age Awakening. Not only does the armor look like a demonic variant of Grey Warden armor, which fits the theme of the Black Marsh, which is a corrupted hellscape with a thin veil, but the armor's lore also goes incredibly hard and has a story to tell. The Sentinel armor is the armor worn by the Grey Warden, who killed the first archdemon Dumat, which explains why the armor looks like a more corrupted version of Grey Warden armor, considering that the armor is 1,200 years old and was likely corrupted by the Blight, age, and the Fade, but still it is preserved. Also, the armor is amazing to stick on the companion Justice, that you also recruit in the Black Marsh. Just a very thematically appropriate armor overall, in addition to being cool looking.
All right, pretty solid picks, boys. I would have to give my favorite armor to the Defender armor from the Descent DLC. I know Inquisition has far less unique armors than previous games, but something about crafting your own overpowered armor in Inquisition just feels far more satisfying to me. And this armor is the closest thing to religious armor the dwarves get. I think what sells me on this armor is the sleek black aesthetic of it, similar to the Sentinel armor, but also the armor has lyrium crystals baked into the armor itself, which is really sick. And I wish more armor had features like that, considering how many unique sets in lore, like Juggernaut armor, were made using magic anyway. So finally having an armor that has raw lyrium crystals is sick as hell.
All right, good picks, boys. Those are all pretty dope armors. I'm surprised 2 of us picked heavy armors, so just a reminder to the viewers that light armor or mage's robes are also appropriate answers, so just have fun with it. Our editor will respond to every single one as normal, and with that, Donald, mind showing our featured comment from last episode?
Our featured comment comes from Believe It. There's so much to talk about this comment that we just had to. First off, hell yeah, brother, we need more bodacious desire demons with high-def graphics that are transported right from Bill's mind to the game. So hopefully with all the demons leaking out of the Fade, we can see them again. And hell, even some hot dude desire demons for the ladies and barracks out there. Secondly, a lot of people wanted brood mothers to return, which is a very valid choice. But sadly, they are shadow banned currently from the writing team, so sadly we won't see one of our favorite enemies from a lore perspective anytime soon.
Also, we wanted to shout out our first ever 3 super thanks that we got. Thank you, Desi, Emery, and Captain Hammer. We would never expect financial support like this from you guys, but the fact that you went out of your way to do this is amazing. And we all thank you. A comment and a like is all we really ask. But you guys are an amazing community, and we try to shout that out any chance we get.
Speaking of super thanks, Joe, I almost forgot. I wanted to thank you for handing me the easy W this election cycle by dropping out.
Donald, I don't want to talk about it.
Well, then you shouldn't have announced it. I'm back now twice in 1 week. I knew we were bonding over this game, but I didn't think you would glaze me this hard.
Look, y'all wanted the mage tier list, and I just want to play Veilguard, uninterrupted by Kamala asking me about foreign affairs. It has nothing to do with the fact I wouldn't clutch up, because I would.
Quitter talk. That's why I'm a man of the people.
Well, just get ready for even heavier lore drops from me now that I'm done with this job and can enjoy my free time.
Joe, you're not done yet. You still have the rest of your term.
Oh, right. Well, on to lore. I have a hypothetical question for you all. Do you think the Orlesians were genuinely being interested in forming an alliance with Ferelden in the hopes of stopping the Blight? Or do you think they were using the Blight as an excuse to enter Ferelden, and then once the Blight was ended, start war again or annex territory like what Loghain feared?
I don't think the Orlesians would plan an invasion right after the Blight. There's no telling how weakened their troops would be after the Blight. And it still wouldn't end well for them, since they would be cut off from the rest of Orlais. I think that offer from Selene was more of a honeypot, a kind gesture to start an alliance that eventually ends with Callian in Selene's pocket. Selene is definitely the type of person who uses politics and seductions rather than cutthroat brute force methods, but we will see more of that in Inquisition.
That's what I was thinking too, Barry. Loghain is obviously traumatized from the Ferelden occupation, and that is painting his perspective. And Selene is not a very brute force leader. She is more so a master of the game.
Cool lore drop, nerd, but now let's move on to what the viewers really wanted to see, putting the king's armor on our future king, Alistair.
Possible future King Donald, again, it's in the viewer's hands. The armor is sick as hell on him. Looks far better on Alistair than it did on Callian.
Well, this scene is already unrealistic because, as we already showed this episode, our little guy just runs into fireballs and tanks them. He doesn't dodge them, especially because our little guy is packing a few 100 pounds of plate armor, bro. Is definitely not that agile.
Cutscenes stay giving our warden negative feats, I suppose. Well, here we have our first introduction to the Darkspawn grunts. These grunts are actually part of their own enemy rank that is even lower than Critter. Their rank is one-hit kill, which, as you can see, is literally their HP. They die in one hit to anything we throw at them.
Wow, they have as much creativity as our editor naming shit. Good work, BioWare. Also, I just figured these Darkspawn grunts were low level to hype us up. I didn't think they were literally one-shot kills. Kinda killing our hype, they're Barack.
Well, this ogre must be part of that rank too, since he went down in basically one hit too. It's been a while since we had an ogre kill animation. This shit still does it for me.
These animations used to get me absolutely bricked up, but I'm still not over the goddamn Tower of Ishael fight, so now the animation just re-traumatizes me.
Well, maybe this next segment will restore your humanity, Donald.
Wait, why?
All right, viewers, so we ended up going into some tunnels that had spiders. Joe freaked the hell out and yeeted his pink laptop across the Oval Office, which fucked with the recording, so we lost that segment with the spiders, but it was literally just Obama fighting spiders for a few minutes, while Joe has anxiety, which was hilarious for me, but terrible for the content. Final battle time, you ready, Joe?
Barry guided me with some deep breathing, so I'm ready to re-kill the ogre that killed the king, in even quicker time than Duncan did.
The final boss of this DLC is a pretty cool concept. The ogre that killed the king and that Duncan slew is revived by a necromancer with Duncan's blades still sticking out of the ogre, all while a necromancer summons the dead killed at Ostagar.
It's a cool idea, but I feel like the boss should have been the necromancer, not the ogre. I mean, that's who we have been chasing all this time. He's also the person you should obviously focus. He'll leave the ogre to the rest of the party while I finish this.
Bro has some next-level dodging mechanics, apparently. Also, the idea is cool in theory, Barack, but all those undead are doing is biting our heels.
Yeah, I have mixed feelings about this fight. Being honest, thematically, on paper, this is a cool idea, but I think it might just be limited by the mechanics of Origins. One of the few times a battle might have been improved if this was in Dragon Age 2's wave combat. Also, I think the Necromancer has high dodge because peep what happens when he dies.
I maybe overhyped it because it looks like the battle's already over.
Wait, what the hell?
Well, the Necromancer was the one summoning them, so obviously when he died, the spell ended too.
That is the most anticlimactic battle we have fought. No way that counts as a boss counter.
Well, Donald, last I checked, the boss health dropped to 0, so it definitely counts. The viewers have made it very clear this is the literal rule. So that's a second boss counter for Joe.
Why does Joe always get the most controversial bosses?
I swear it's not intentional.
Well, let's close up with some banter to end off the DLC.
You appear to be getting younger by the day.
Be careful who you flirt with, young man. When you wake up beside me tomorrow morning, I'll be back to reminding you of your grandmother.
Beside you?
You heard what I said. It would not be the first
Damn,
time
Grandma
I
Wynne
talked
got
to
it
a
like
younger
that.
man in my
Wait, didn't we say just a few episodes ago that Alistair reminds Wynne of her son? That banter definitely paints a different tone now.
Wynne 4 will be like one of those thirsty Facebook soccer moms who comments on her son's friends' workout pics.
So small choice here that doesn't really matter. I always just do the pyre because it's a nice cutscene. But we can also leave him hanging here or feed him to the wolves. None of these choices affect anything, though, and that is kind of a missed opportunity.
Yeah, honestly, something in this DLC could have tied back to the Landsmeet, either by giving you extra points for being respectful to the king's body, or losing points if you were disrespectful to it, or just showing the documents during the Landsmeet for extra dialogue or points as well. As it is, this DLC just feels like a side story in a vacuum outside the main story.
I think we can safely say with that anticlimactic boss fight, this is easily the worst of the 3 base game DLC.
Very safe statement to make, honestly. Shale is a top-tier companion with unique mechanics, and Soldier's Peak had far more interesting lore and decisions to it. We played Return to Ostagar basically just for the loot and the party banner.
I do think this is a good setup for the Landsmeet thematically, but as it stands, if I had to pay actual money for this DLC, I would feel like I was ripped off. It's easily the shortest of the 3, and it doesn't even feature any unique locations.
Well, we still have some time left. What's the plan, Joe?
Well, we are finished with side quests, and we have already devoted plenty of time to all the companions. So nothing left to do but to start the last main quest. I think I will play through the Haven section, then pass the temple portion over to you, Barry.
Thank you, Joe. I'm cool with that.
Long as your ass isn't going to attempt the High Dragon fight, Joe, you can do whatever. Seeing you run into the High Dragon, while hilarious, would add an extra hour of you dying to this episode, and I don't have time for all that.
Oh, please, I'm scared of a dragon. You do remember this is my favorite boss for a reason, Donald. It does suck. I can't fight my favorite boss in Origins, but don't act like I couldn't do it.
Yeah, whatever.
I have to say, the Haven quest line definitely gives H.P. Lovecraft vibes at the start. A recluse town not trusting of outsiders, but filled with dark secrets behind every door, and even a clear cult. Unfortunately, all this mystery and dark tones ends rather abruptly in favor of another dungeon exploration.
Well, before we uncover some mysteries, I brought Sten with us for probably his most iconic scene.
This is like the second time we have brought him in the party all playthrough.
This is Sten's most impactful moment in the story overall. We all know he is hesitant of our warden's ability to lead and stop the Blight. However, this quest is the only quest that doesn't directly grant an army. So to him, recovering the urn is not aiding our goal of ending the Blight. We either have to persuade him here, or if we don't pass the persuasion check, Sten will challenge us to a duel to assume control of the party. Even if he wins, however, the rest of the party will intervene and say they still won't follow him. However, because we completed his personal quest already, nothing we say will cause him to fight you, since he still considers us a brother in arms now. This moment really helps Sten stand out in the party, as he's someone who wants you to succeed, but is vocal about his beliefs and won't simply roll over and take it like other companions. Makes him feel more like a real person by standing up.
As much backtalk as this giant lug of anxiety gives us, actually squaring up with the warden takes some major balls. I kind of respect that.
Well, if that isn't the best way to end Sten's arc with that line and Donald's acknowledgement, I don't know what is. Well, before things get freaky, let's buy up the shopkeeper's stock.
Might as well add some extra potions since Donald killed our infinite supply of elf root.
I still regret nothing.
He has some unique arrows, too.
Who the hell does everyone in Haven think they are? We are the player character, and this is America. We go wherever the hell we want, end of story.
To be fair, this is the equivalent of walking into a Best Buy and immediately heading to the back rooms.
Well, according to the internet, it's people mine and Donald's age passion to harass store owners like we own the place, so we might as well stay in character.
If smartphones existed in the Dragon Age world, you would already be trending, Joe, with the caption, "Boomer attacks." Store owner also, "Hey, look, a dead knight." What does that make Isolde's kill count now? Because this is 100% her fault.
You know, maybe we should track down another blood mage. I think we should enter Connor's mind again, just to make extra sure he's demon-free before Eamon wakes up.
Considering how long it's been since the knights got sent out, this store probably smells absolutely awful. Also, the chest by the entrance has the unique Zevran gift, if that wasn't obvious.
Holy crap, these guards are fast-acting. How do they even know I did anything wrong?
POV, you just killed a chicken in Skyrim, and now every guard in the hold is ready to die in glorious combat to capture you.
You know, with the amount of mages this cult has, you would think someone in the real Chantry would have taken notice of Haven and tried to put a stop to them.
You would think, but we already know that the Ferelden Templars can't put down a mage even with a geolocator and superior numbers. So it's not surprising this dragon cult can have a whole circle quantity of mages.
How the hell does Morrigan know that's human blood just by spotting it?
That definitely is a red flag.
Every flag she has is green when you look like that, boys.
We've lost Donald, boys. It's all Jover. Let's just handle this cult.
Looks like we interrupted prayer time.
Well, let's see how much prayer helps them when we start curb stomping all their dudes.
You know, say what you will about this quest, but it does have some top-tier companion banter. Zevran will mention how he thought the cult would be having an orgy when we enter here, and of course Oghren's unique dialogue with Colgrim later is top-tier.
Origin's party banter is always top-tier, but I do remember the companions being more chatty in this quest than others.
I feel like the fact they have a revered father, while really odd, is kind of lost on players this game. The Chantry takes a huge backseat in Origins, especially when compared to Dragon Age 2 and Inquisition. So it's easy for players to not even realize that this is odd.
Yeah, even the first time I played this quest, I didn't realize how different the religion of Haven was. It's actually surprising that these guys were able to keep their beliefs and hide from the Orlesian occupation for over 60 years, considering how hard Orlais is about unifying under one single Andrastian faith. I mean, we just learned that's why they exterminated the Dales. But somehow these guys are better at hiding than the Dales?
Human superiority at its finest. Also, last fight of the episode, Joe, let's see your moves.
You know, I thought, considering this guy is the leader of the village and he got his own cutscene, that he would be a boss fight.
Skill issue.
Surprisingly, Joe, despite this being one of the more difficult dungeons in the game, there's only one mandatory boss fight in this entire main quest. That's either Colgrim or the Guardian, depending on who you side with. Technically, there's three, if you fight Colgrim. The Guardian and the High Dragon, but two of those are optional. Definitely far less bosses needed to progress when compared with the Dalish and the Circle Tower quests.
And that doesn't even compare to the amount of required bosses in the Orzammar quest line. Anyway, looks like we found the old man we were looking for. How the hell is he not dead after all this time?
Hey, now Donald put some respect on Brother Genitivi's name. He is probably the deepest scholar and lore keeper in the series and is tied with Varric on published books. Plus, he is one of the most open and accepting members of the Chantry while still being critical of some of its more popular but extreme viewpoints. He also butts heads with the Chantry over the fact that what he has learned contradicts what the Chantry teaches. However, he is still a member in good standing because of how beneficial his research is to the Chantry.
My bad, bro. I was unfamiliar with your game.
Oh, he's a lore keeper like the Shaper 8 and Orzammar. That's why you're glazing him this hard. Let me guess, bro has significance from other media beyond the games, and that's why you're so quick to defend him.
Right on the money, Genitivi is featured in one of the Tevinter Nights, short stories, same as Nev Gallus from Veilguard. In the story, Genitivi leads a small expedition funded by the Inquisition's Inner Circle to gather more knowledge on the ancient elves. He finds a library detailing the elven pantheon and how this pantheon contradicts the very faith of the Maker. However, he regains his faith when he is captured by the Qunari and manages to get one member of the expedition back to Varric to tell him what they learned, while Genitivi seemingly did not make it back. However, Genitivi did make it out safely, and has simply faked his death to hide from the Qunari.
Okay, the old man has some fight in him, even if he doesn't show that in this game.
I mean, he has a little fight in him. Even if he isn't a fighter himself, bro, was absolutely determined to guide us to the urn and do his part, even though he was starved and tortured for weeks before this.
All right, fine, you two won me over. Even if he is a dirty maker simp, he gets his tasks done, and that's the most I can expect out of any NPC. So he's a solid A-tier guy.
Well, looks like the reason they were able to hide from Orlays is because they constantly take out any witnesses of their village, and even move the village around the mountains. Still, the fact that Orlay never found this place during the occupation is hard to believe.
You ever notice how many small Andrasti cults Ferelden has? There's this one, and there's Blades of Hessarian and Inquisition. What's the deal with that?
Well, Ferelden is the birthplace of Andrasti, and Ferelden is still less unified than Orlays or Tevinter, so it makes sense. There would be tribes hiding out here and there.
I take it we are going to have plenty of Chantry history apps during your episode, Barak.
I mean, absolutely. It's the only time in Origins the Chantry is relevant, and it will be a good refresher for the viewers before we go into Dragon Age 2 and Inquisition, where the Chantry decides to become a massive governing force again.
That's true. Besides my gorgeous Leliana, we really don't hear about the Maker much in this game, though. Granted, some of that is our fault, too, if you think about it.
Wait, how is it our fault?
Well, we picked a dwarf origin where obviously the Chantry doesn't exist in our society. If we picked Circle Mage, Human Noble, or City Elf, we could have had opportunities off the bat. We ignored the priest in Ostagar, and then we also insulted Brother Burkle in Redcliffe. While this is the only main quest that focuses on the Chantry, there are plenty of NPCs that do offer lore on Andrasti and the Maker.
Joe, I feel like you only know all that because your B-tier bard is the biggest Andrasti enjoyer in the business. Also, don't dispense lore about Human Noble. That's my territory. You don't see me over here yapping about the Circle of Magi parties or what Leliana's toenails smell like.
Okay, again, I need a content warning before you mention her toenails. Donald, for the love of God,
Joe, you're really not supposed to need a content warning, Jesus. We have really gotten off track. I know what to do. Joe, do you remember the unique party banter with Leliana here?
Why, yes, of course, Barry. If you bring Leliana here and refuse to take Brother Genitivi with you to the temple, Leliana will offer to walk him there herself, since she's just sweet like that.
And with that, let's head to the temple ourselves, boys.
The right combination, it just feels right.
You know, closing your eyes while hearing this scene gives the entirely different context.
Donald, please.
Well, we made it to the temple, Joe, so I think it's about time we call it for this episode and let Barak handle the dragons.
Good call. Viewers, next time I will beat this cult like I'm a Far Cry 5 protagonist, and I will slay a dragon like I'm a Skyrim protagonist, so look forward to it.
See you next time, you beautiful snow-covered dungeon. I'm sorry I didn't get to explore you myself. Well, thanks for watching, viewers. The insane support we have gotten is what helps us to keep pushing these episodes out faster and faster, and let us know what you think of our new icons. Don't forget to leave your comment question on what your favorite armor set in the Dragon Age series is. Our editor will respond to every comment as normal. Don't forget to stick a thumb in my ass and like the video, and we will see you all next time where Barak will finish the last main quest of Origins before the lands meet. But for now, stay safe. Biden out.